Okay, I just remembered something, but we could take it from here. Peace and blessings, everybody. Let me back this up a little. Yeah, let's set this up. All right, let's get started on this. Before we go forward, we're gonna backtrack. I want to backtrack into yesterday's conversation. So, you know, um, I wanted to just touch up on Demon's thing with a little intro from my man Manly P. Hall. I love Manly P. Hall, and he's gonna bring us into this Demon thought form. What's going on, Karima Ashi El El Eli? Um, it's good to understand what's going on and what is actually being programmed in us, and so we could differentiate the two ourselves. So before we get started, I like to do my little introduction thing or whatever, but I don't have nothing really I was planning with music or whatever, but I wanted somebody to actually give a second opinion before I start, because it's all one. We all practice synchronicity coming from a different dimension, another side. And so there's other perspective here that we wasn't able to tune into, being through the government, through education, through religion. Those is one conglomerate that equals the matrix program, and we live under that construct. With that being the case, what we think and what we believe is data that is actually inputted, and we randomly pick whatever we feel is actually good enough. Well, let's hear it.
This evening we have a subject that is almost certain
Hold
to
on, I'm gonna
become.
put it on my speakers. I want to hear this, so give me a second. I'm back. Let's get this popping. All right. Plug in the monitor. Hopefully we can hear. Let's see if we can hear first.
I'm going to ask you to
Okay.
speak quietly and carefully as you can, and speak it. Imagine.
All right, here goes.
Actually,
About demons.
most of our concepts of demonism, black magic, witchcraft, and diabolism belong to long traditional concepts and beliefs which have endured in our way of life over thousands of years. First of all, I think we should make one rather important differentiation. Most of the demons of antiquity were comparatively respectable creatures. The ancients believed that there were in nature spirits both good and bad. Good spirits they called gods, or in nature worship, kami, or elemental beings. Evil spirits they regarded as more spiteful and malicious by their natural intention. And these two orders of invisibles were used to explain a variety of natural phenomena. When things went well with man, he was grateful to his gods. And when things went badly, he propitiated his devils. For he assumed at an early time, and apparently quite sensibly, that God and the subordinate deities that attended the Supreme Being could not be the cause of evil. Yet as a mortal physical creature, man experienced certain disasters which he called evil. He found himself plagued with circumstances destructive to his happiness, his health, and even his life. He had to explain how it was that a good God ruling over a good produce destructive situations. To meet this need, orders of beings subordinate to deities, but still by nature malicious, were conjured into reality. Perhaps man copied this concept in turn from his own associates in this world. He discovered what we all find, that some of our associates are nice people and some prove treacherous or destructive. Some of our friends are faithful and others faithless. It appears that certain phases or aspects of our way of life are protective and others are destructive. And today we explain these differences on moral or ethical or cultural or legal grounds, but still we're faced by these two parallel lines of occurrences, one helpful and the other hurtful. Going back over the history of primitive demonism, we note that nearly all of the so-called destructive forces were regarded as entities in themselves. They were sprites or mysterious little beings of nature capricious and malicious, but they operated almost completely according to their own natures. They afflicted or burdened people because apparently they enjoyed doing these things. Irish folklore is full of mischievous beings who seem to like to play pranks on innocent mortals. Most of these older demons, therefore, were an order of life, just in the same way that the various Greek divinities originated in some region of their own, had their own way of life, and only occasionally came into contact with mankind. This contact could also often be altered. Malicious spirits could be made at least temporarily friendly by offerings and by various gifts and by propitiations, as they were called. It did not seem to occur to these older peoples that these spirits were other than what they seemed to be, some kind of a hierarchy of entities, inhabiting their own worlds and coming in contact with man only on very rare occasions. The second type of spirit that was regarded as hurtful or harmful was the individual who died with great evil or great hate in his heart. If we wronged someone terribly and he died, we conceived that he might haunt us. Perhaps this haunting was mostly the voice of our own conscience. We may have realized that this person went out of this world injured by us, and that perhaps had he a survival after death, he might resent this injury and continue to avenge it from the other world as he might have liked to do it from here. So we have this kind of spirit being, the souls of the unhappy dead. This more or less exhausted the Greek concept. The Greeks were never particularly devoted to demonology. They kind of liked life, they enjoyed nature. Their religion was a rather buoyant, festive kind. They would much rather live in a world filled with good spirits than with evil ones. Our word demon, however, has been derived from the Greek. But in the Greek form, demon, it did not signify an evil being at all. It simply represented a creature from another dimension might have some contact with earthly affairs. Socrates had a demon, according to his own records. And this was a godlike creature who warned him of impending evil and harm and protected him.
All right. That's good enough. All right. Let's get the day started. Greetings, everyone. You know, let me see. Sandra, what's going on from Guam? Gabrielle Bradford, Kima. All right, let's get this popping now. You know, it's very important for us to understand what is going on in today's society, and like a lot of us is actually the demon that we are afraid of, and we don't realize it. And so, by you understanding demonology, the whole concept of how everything came into being, you could judge for yourself and make your own decision, but not make a decision superficially from what other people is telling you or what is just here to offer you as your definition for this world. It happened to me, and that's why I'm bringing it to your attention now, because my Kundalini activated. It brought about a condition that I'm gonna read to you. This is why I became. They like to twist things around. Yes, Admus, and that's what's going. Everything is twisted around if we don't realize it. And Demion, yeah, like my name, Damien. That's what they are, and they're actually your guardian angel. All of us have them. It's written in the Quran, and that's what we call the Afrits, the Afrits. The Indian is what they call the spirit beings that roamed Africa, roamed the earth at that time back then. They didn't see them. This is all indigenous people, no matter what country you're from, aside from Europe. They was all called Indians from the prior people who was there that was calling them indigos. And so that's the original word, not for just one group of people. It was for all indigenous people. So with us, we had our Demion. We also left our body in the daytime. This is why it's important for you to understand. Peace and blessing. I was literally just telling someone this, and this is crazy, mind blowing. Now, 15 minutes ago, to how you know this is synchronicity. This is what this is about too, because we're gonna discuss a lot, including universal synchronicity, because a lot of us is on the Earth clock, which is now you have two parts to it. The inner sphere of the Earth is the Earth clock, the Earth time zone, a real time zone. A lot of people is only functioning off of that time perimeter. Then you got people who care about nature, the weather. They operate off of the sphere time clock and is in tune with that energy. Then you got people that is with the solar system time clock. And then you have people who's just with universal time clock. Then you got the God time clock before universal. God time clock is never there. But universal time clock is over God's time clock, because you get to see the synchronicity in everything. You become universal when you see the whole of everything, eons and demons. That's how the universal time clock works. You have to sync yourself to it by not seeing mediocre things or the small picture. You have to see the big picture, then the whole puzzle. Then you will see that it's not coincidental. Everything aligned, numbers aligned. Pay attention to numbers. They be a sign of, same numbers, 111s, and the numbers that's even like 1010. Those is all confirmation numbers. You got certain angels, like Michael is zero. Every zero on the hour is Michael. Then you got Gabriel number one, and so forth, Sariel number two. So when you see 111222, that's the angel that's giving you confirmation. They're guiding you on that journey. All numbers represent that. We got it from the Essenes. The Essenes is actually the progenitors of all of the transcribing and translation, not just of the Egyptian coffin text, which we call the Bible, but it's actually the translation of the Hebrew culture. You see, the actual Hebrew culture don't come from the Hebrews; it comes from the Essene. If you notice, there's a cover up on them. They're not in the Bible like everybody else. You got your Sadducees, your Pharisees, and whatever the other departments that is documented. But the Essenes now is the real ones. Those they like a Masonic order. They stood in Qumran. They're the ones who the Dead Sea Scrolls. But it's like a code book. You know, you have to get the Book of Habakkuk and the Book of the Gold Seals and all this other parts to it to understand the biblical part of it. They only gave you the biblical part, but they never gave you the codes to it, which is a lifestyle that the Hebrew lived. Culture where men stay in the inner courts, the women is at the outer courts. When they have their periods, they have to go to the other side of the courts. And, you know, they got a part for all the kids and people outside of the culture who actually have kids and can't take care of their kids. They abort their kids. They used to leave it in the desert. And the Essenes used to come from the desert, take the kids and bring them into their community. And they'll do what Joseph would do. And see, Joseph was part of that community as a carpenter. You was a tradesman, and you give up all your stuff just to participate in the trade. It was a community given thing. So the Essenes lived that life, which was also the Hebrew or Jewish lifestyle. But they got it themselves from the original indigenous people. That was just the culture of all indigenous people, no matter where you was at on the earth. It was a Hebrew type lifestyle. But as time went on, and you know, you have religions come in, and this is the Greco-Roman time when the Roman people was taking over and trying to, you know, convert everybody through Hellenism into their religion. That you had these people break apart and go to Qumran, so you get a lot of Naga stuff, Nagahadi, the Nagas people. All of these is what we call the serpent people, just like you see the snake on the Uraeus. All these is Kundalini activators. It's a special blood line that comes from the genetics that was originally here. And they have in them the knowledge and the wisdom from the Father and from universal knowledge. So they the ones who could tap in. Yeah, take the wise kids and teach them and recall the and new ways. Yeah, you see, all I'm doing is making you remember. It's a program in you, and all I'm doing, I'm giving y'all, you know, thank you for tuning in, whoever's participating, because it's just to actually awaken you and give you back your memory from when you was a child. You was already pre-programmed here. Look at your basic music, how music flows. When my generation came, we came with rap, hip hop, breakdance, and something that was dreadful to society, and they didn't like it. But eventually, over time, Ebonics became a dictionary. Hip hop became one of the biggest money makers. So we didn't actually participate in the lawyer, doctor, Indian chief of society. We became the DJs, the rappers, the new generation that brought multi-billion dollars to this world. And you got to see, if you take away your divinity by losing your originality, your rebelliousness, these is what you was brought here to do and to convert this world, add on to it. You will just do what everybody else is doing and you forfeit those. So with us trying to pave our way through this world, it's going to be a very dreadful and painful journey, because it's a world of creating your own, and creating your own require you to only know what you know and apply it in this universal world. So now we're talking about demons, all right? I was going to tell you what my Kundalini activated. I was getting into situations where I couldn't explain anything. I was seeing these spirits, I'm seeing these holographic images, and everybody think I'm crazy. I'm got to go to a psychiatrist, but I'm feeling it in the worst way. It's like I'm curled up on the floor, like trying to avoid it. It's like it's right there. If I even lift my head up a little, it's actually the empath in me had activated, meaning my magnetic field lifted off. I was open to the world. Look at a magnetic field as if you get a cut and the cut perfectly heals, your skin come back normal. Your magnetic field came and healed everything over. But it's your skin. When you have a scar, such as what's here, scar, this is a permanent open magnetic field. It's actually neuronic. You know, you wave your hand over it, I can feel it. So actually, back in the West Africa, early ancestors, they actually cut their face and cut their hands, cut themselves to actually make a scar on themselves so they could be a magnetic field onto them. So a lot of people who have scars, they get a lot of anxiety and discomfort because you're an open magnetic field or have an opening in your magnetic field, and spirits or whatever is in nature or the air, you actually is feeling it and interacting with it. So anyways, with your magnetic field lifting, that's how you become an empath. Now you're sensitive to energies, but these energies was always there. We was just protected from it because for you to become an empath, it's certain empathy, certain chakras got to open between your heart chakra and your throat chakra, you could say, and your third eye chakra. All of these has to balance. Right now, look at each one as like at a level right here in front of you, straight like this. But what happens is either this one is out too much, this one is in too much, this one is in the middle, your heart chakra, so it's not balanced. Once you balance them all and they're even, that's when your empathism come out. It's an empathy thing it works with. So once that happens, it's like your magnetic field lifts off of you that was protecting you for you to experience. Once you have experience now, those in something you have to get yourself out of by fixing yourself. And once you fix yourself, you can fix other people too. So that's now what happens. Your magnetic field come apart. Your kundalini now is actually in your ass by your back, and it's two Uranus or the DNA symbol, the sine wave, two snakes, and actually when they touch is when kundalini happens. So I'm gonna read from you from Sir Woodolph, The Serpent Power. This is in reference to now how really a real kundalini activation take place, so we don't get it superficially. It's documented. This is it. I would recommend to get Serpent Power if you're going through any type of mental disorder or any type of problems, or you feel your kundalini is activating where you're feeling these energies. So he goes on to say, the Mudala, he's explaining first our where we think the chakras is at is not where it's at. So he's gonna first just tell you where it's not where they say it's at in the West. This is where it's at. But the important part of this message is what it does to a human being. You have to understand. He's gonna tell you when this happens, this is what happened to you, and I'm pretty sure this will explain something to you more about yourself. All right. He says the Mudalabaha is inaccurately described being above the pubis, nor is the Svadhisthana, the umbilical region. And Anahata is not the root of the nose, but is the spinal center in the region of the heart. Vishuddhihas, not, which is the hollow between the frontal sinus, but is there which is the hollow between the frontal sinus, but is there the spinal center in the region of the throat. So he's giving you the way the chakras is at the throat chakra, the one he says one on your sinus between your nose, and then you have ajna. Ajna chakra, you know, is the third eye. He says the ajna is not in the frontal of the union of the coronal and the sagittal structures, which are said to be the brahmarahara. He said, but is the position that's told to the third eye. We are told it to the third eye, or the jhana chakrashu. Other avoiding such gross errors are not free from lesser inaccuracies. Thus, an author who I am informed had considerably knowledge of these occult things speaks on the Shishma, he says, as a force which cannot be energized until Ida and Pingala have preceded it. So you see, this is what happened to Shushma now, with Ida and Pingala, the two forces that I told you about that form the snakes. So he says, the Shushma is a force which cannot be energized until Ida and Pingala have preceded it, which passes to the accompaniment of violent shocks through each section of the spinal marrow, and which, on the awakening of the sacral plexus, passes along the spinal cord, impeding the brain, and with the result that the neophyte finds themselves to be an embodied soul, alone in the black abyss of an empty space, struggling against dreadful, terrible, unmutable monsters. He also writes that the current of Kundalini is called Nadi, that the Shushma extends as nerves to the Brahmahana, that the Tattvas are seven in number, and other matters which are inaccurate. The Sushma is not a force and does not pass an impediment upon anything, but is the outer of the three nadis which form the conduit for the force which is arousing of the Devi called Kali or Kundalini. This the cosmic power embodies which force is not itself a nadi, but passing through the innermost. So you get to see what I was telling you about, that once your kundalini activate, you're gonna feel like you're being attacked by spirits, demons. So when we talking about demons, a lot of people now is gonna like doubt me because I'm gonna tell you totally different to what everybody else is telling you, that there is no such thing as demons, and it was made up by the church. And what we considering demons is ourselves, and we're doing thought forms, and we're actually projecting it and making demons. And so a lot of people who's going through kundalini activation, they're gonna actually try to say that, well, you could say that if you want, but what about the spirit that keep trying to fuck me and have sex with me, and it chokes me and it suffocates me? You don't know. That's yourself. That's yourself. You're being having sex with yourself, nobody else. You have a shield. Yes, Yahoo Adams. You can make a shield. It's called a Megan shield. You know, it's the Star of David. It's a simple shield that actually helps protect you and balance out your energies, because that's a lot of things we don't know. We are actually these star seeds, these indigos, and so we live in a pseudo life according to the program, and a lot of spiritual things is happening, and so we equate it to being on a psychic attack or all these other stuff, but it's actually your own spirits that's trying to integrate back with yourself and your soul, and we just don't know it. So now, when we're talking about the Megan shield and how to protect yourself with it, I could give you a quick example, and you know, it's a thing you could do too. Anybody could do it. You could build your own Megan shield, and it's part of meditation. So to actually understand it, it's, you know, the pyramid upside down, which is female, feminine. This the V. Her legs is open like this. This will be the vagina, and then the pyramid right side up, the regular pyramid. That would be the male, and the phallus pointing straight up. These together makes up the Star of David, which is a modern term. There is no such time of Megan shield. If you was to look it up, that would be the proper term to look it up under. The Megan shield is five pointed, and it's a feminine star, which actually has a brother star or husband star, which will be the six-pointed star, which is set. You understand? They work together, but they still two separate powers. Now the Megan shield, which is the Star of David, which forms the dodecahedron, is actually now a force. So we didn't do it like as, I don't know how we looked at it as an image, as a picture. And this is the Star of David. No, it's a science that's called, you know, it's part of Merkaba science. You could look up or Google Jewish Merkaba science, and it's called Hekala. You know, it's a Hekala science. And so to make the actual shield now, it's like you're gonna take your hands, put them about this distance apart, 5 inches apart, right? And then as you now concentrate in between your hands, right in between the spaces, right here in the middle, of a ball of light, a purple light. Just focus there and concentrate, and you will start to actually see like a energy start to come. And now just take your hand slowly, and like if it's a sponge ball, just start pumping it in and out, in and out, and you will see a field is going to build up. This field is going to get strong after a while, and that's the Megan shield you're starting to build up. You just move your hand subtly. Don't move your hand fast. Very subtly, but stare right in between, because you're making the flame. They call it the purple flame, the blue flame, whichever one you want to imagine there. And then as you pump slightly, you feel your hand stiffen like it's just locked into a field. So now you have the Megan shield up. Once the Megan shield is up, if you're feeling it, you know, your hands are stiffening it. You could actually now play within it. Like, I want you to slowly move it like a cloud and bring your hands closer together slowly. And you can see like it's pulling your hands more together. But when you try to slowly pull it apart with the most subtle of energy, it's like something is pulling them back together. It's a force in between there. So this is what's called the Megan shield, and it actually put like a whole force field around you, like Sue from the X-Men. So you will feel it if you're actually now able to hold it, You see your hands can't pull apart and your hands can't really push together. It's like a force right in between, but don't pull too hard. It's just a subtle force. That's called a Megan shield. And usually you would take it now very slowly and subtly, moving like a cloud, because it's easy to break. It works with your concentration, and you slowly put it into your heart. This energy is magnetic energy that goes into your heart chakra, which actually sends energy throughout your body. So you will slowly keep doing it till you get it to your heart and slowly push it into your heart, you know? Okay, so that does it. Now, just to give you a brief history, real quick, demons was actually first made up by the Greeks and Romans under the name Demion. Deamon was the actual term, which would actually meant some good spirits, your guardian angels. That's how they saw them. If you Google right now Daemon, you're going to see it's a Greek word and it's going to tell you guardian angel. Now, the Greeks felt the same way. They would both call it Damien or Damon, and they actually, their parents is demons. The parents of demons is angels. The parents of angels is gods. And the parents of God is God. So you got to know it's a hierarchy, just like you have planets, stars, moons. Why is that then? As above, so below. Just like you have parents, you have kids. So you get to see there's nothing in creation that don't already is in synchronicity with something else. It's nothing separate in this unit. And so you can't separate yourself. You can't see yourself as a human. That is just absurd. You understand? You might as well say you're a plant or an animal first, because that's where you come from. You understand? But then you come from it and then you separate yourself from it and no. That's the same thing. Um um the what's his name? We call him Yododa. You know, the creator did. When Cyrus was being created and forming, you know, I told you all about Draco being the first constellation, the dragon, and then came Cyrus. Well, when Cyrus was forming, that's when the sun came into being. Ra, you know, we call him the demiurge, the fate creator, Yodel. And so your Delta Boss story is he actually slid off of Cyrus and started dropping lower into consciousness while Cyrus is telling them, yo, come back. Everybody's telling them, stay up here. And eventually he fell down to be the sun and he knew what he was doing, but he remained like he was unconscious to what was happening. And actually, wisdom got caught up with him. The story of wisdom is that she looked over the sea, and Yododabov or Ra or whatever you want to call him, the demiurge, got caught up in that whole mess too. And so you get now the story of Lilith, all this other shit come into play, where Lilith became the demon that everybody was afraid of because she had a soul. You understand? And not because she was evil. It was because she came from Cyrus. And Cyrus energy come through Saturn. Once we get our energy, it's all from Saturn. That give us our psychic abilities, our soul, all the things that we're not too anxious to want to experience, including what we call nightmares and those type of things. And so this energy is the dark energy of Saturn that sends it through us. It reflects off of Cyrus. And so the Hebrews practiced a lot of holiday rituals to block the energy. And so they gave people time off on those days so that the ritual could go through, because a lot of people's energy will be on no guard. And so those was the times that you see all holidays is geared to stopping a certain energy from hitting your soul to making you awaken. That's what they do it for, which is called the Lilith or the Shekinah energy. If you ever heard of the Shekinah, that's what it is. Those became what we consider demon in the Bible now. You know, you see, when demon gets converted from the Greek and Roman way later on, it becomes Demon. And they also now did not take the original etymology of what it was and kept it. They put a new meaning to it, meaning a new definition. So they created it. It didn't exist in our reality. Demions exist in our reality. It's documented. It's recorded. But Like when I gave you the beginning with Manny P. Hall talking, that's what he's demonstrating to you. The Greeks never heard of this. What they're saying today. Neither did the Romans. Neither did the Egyptians or anybody else prior. So it was only when religion came in, they took something. They didn't make up. If they were to call it Kubiyashi, they would have been able to get away with it. That's where they fucked up at. They should have named it Kubiyashi. By them naming it demon, like it was already in existence, you see, they plagiarized it. By plagiarizing it and then redefining it, you made it null and void. It's not real. You understand what I'm saying? Because it has to have its own original everything for have the original name. So being that they plagiarized something, you could see it's a psychological game that they put into people's mind, knowing that everybody has thought forms. We all think and we don't see it. Every thought you have is a visible image to a seer, and he sees what you think. So when you have thought forms, all these thought forms now becomes alive through a form of what we call transmutation with the moon. You see, everything works through radiation. That's why they call you the black body. You give off a black energy. And so with that in mind, when subatomic particles come against you, they transmutate on different levels through radiation, the black body. That's why when a bunch of black people get in a room or in a club, it gets very hot. You understand? It start stinking, all stuff. Everything start coming. So we actually are transmuters of thought forms, thought energy. We could pick them up in the air and read them and say, "Oh, I'm gonna go to McDonald's." So these thought energy has influence on us. You understand? So Google thought forms, and you will get some answers to it. Now, in reference to demons, you got to realize every entity, just like he says now, as you can see, there is an invisible world, and I'm not just here talking about something that don't exist, and that world don't have nothing to do with our world. If there was demons who was bad, by law, they wouldn't be concerned with physical human beings. Human beings could trap them and make them do their biddings. That's what we're doing when we set up altars. But they don't have nothing to do with you. You the one who summoned them and called them into this reality and is using them to do your due. That's on you and through your own experience of your soul. So whatever you're doing is instinctively because you probably was doing it in another life or whatever. So instinctively, just like you could say when as soon as we set ourselves up and get our replacing thing, make our first altar and bring the same negative spirits and all the spirits that we play with, and it has a very bad influence on us. So I just wanted you to understand we ourselves is the demon. We're the demon by our thought forms, and we create it and make it on us. Now, in reference to like a lot of women's, I want to touch up on a few issues with the women. They have entities or spirit that come and have sexual encounters with them. Remember this, and always remember this. Our first experience with like having sex is with ourselves. You're your secret lover. And in having your secret lover as yourself, you have an imagination of what your perfect mate would have been in your head. As you first masturbated or you first did your first session of making love, that became the guy that you seek. That became the woman you always seek. Look at yourself. The attributes that you see in a man is all the same. Look at all the men you date. All the women you date is the same because of that secret lover that you got in your subconscious. That was the first person you masturbated about. And so I'm going to get even deeper because from the teaching of Karl Marx, who goes deep into family issues, by nature, I'm not telling you by nature, it's in a little boy's nature to be sexually attracted to his mother, just like it's in the nature of a woman, a girl, to be sexually attracted to her father. And so usually when they leave the household, the kids mate somehow reflection of or parallels the mother, and the same thing, the daughter's reflection or parallels the father. So once you realize this, you would understand there is another level to being conscious where you're not following those laws that I just said. Because you know how this go back? What up, Venenzo Ribeiro? This now goes deeper because back in the caveman days, after a father have a son, when the son reaches of age, he will beat the father, hit him over the head, kill him, and then take his mother and fuck his mother, and that's his wife now. This is natural cause of how culture was back then. So it's not like something that's not real. So when we act out of those lower vibratory frequencies, you got people now, if you go to the porno sites, all they have on there is sister fucks brother, mother fucks son, and it's getting millions of hits. So it's a lot of people that vibrate at very low frequencies that never cured the demon out of themselves. This is why I said we're the demons, not humanity, not the demons. We're the demons, and we that's what we desire. That's why you watch TV. Every movie we watch, and think about it, every movie, whatever is about to come out, is about people busting in the door, robbing a bank, sticking something up. Everyone is a shoot. You wait for them to talk for a few minutes, fuck, get out the car, then it's another shoot scene. Then you wait for them to go chill, talk for a minute, then it's another shoot scene. That's what we like. Every movie is the same movie, a shoot scene, a killing scene, and we go every day like it's a new blockbuster, something new. But that's what we like. So you get to see the demon in yourself. And once you purify yourself, this is what we say now, the demon or demion leave you. But it's you that is the demon, not the demon. The demon only could do what you think and what you say. If he had power over here, people be walking and flying around with the demon holding by their legs upside down like this, motherfucker. It's nothing like that happen. It's nothing ever documented like that. So it's inside of us. It's us that have these thoughts, create these things. So now let's look at it on the whole. We're looking at the demon that's in you, and which is you, and then the demions, the spirit guides, whatever you see or you feel. These things actually is a part of your world. It's part of your consciousness. And for you to unite with it in some way or another, it's not something you go and fight against or you think, you got some big trouble going with. All right, I wanted you to understand that because if we don't know what is a demon, we're gonna believe everything we see. And so for you to understand what I'm coming from and get a good understanding of what took place, when my empathism came out, it was like if I go in a room where people was at, I run right out real quick. If it just felt uncomfortable, it was just so much energy overwhelming me. I could feel everybody's thoughts from the ones who hate me to the ones who actually is surprised. You just get it as an overwhelming feeling. So when this happens, a lot of people start tripping out and actually, you know, run to and hide in the closet, keep all this stuff hidden from public, really isolate themselves. Well, I'm letting you know that this is normal. That's not anything that is weird or you're not being possessed or anything like that. It's a gateway to your awakening to be a healer. And empathism is just one level. Just because you're an empath doesn't mean you say, oh, I'm an empath and settle for that. No, it's a world you have to travel through being an empath. Empath on not for being nosy, not for being so kind-hearted, not for actually tuning frequencies like a radio station. Empath in its whole is so you could sense another world. The sensory perception that empathism give you is actually work with a thing called kinesthesia. If you want right now, Google kinesthesia. Kinesthesia is the other part to empathism. Kinesthesia is the physical body reacting in like fast. Your inner body will feel like heaven. You like this, and you're sitting here like you driving in a car. Like if you're actually floating space, the bottom of your feet muscles will start bumping up and down, and you feel like you're fussing the movie 50 Shades of Grey or whatever that movie is. That's what it's about. Kinesthesia, inducing anesthesia. Her name Anastasia is really kinesthesia. And so you induce that in you and you get a so real feeling, like if it actually is. So a lot of people tap into that and then they demonize themselves. They don't understand when them two connects, it's like you're having a real experience. So for meditators and gurus that do meditation, you go into kinesthesia by going into a dark room, black, 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 no light entering the room, and start waving your hands in front of your face in the darkest of dark. And you trick your brain your brain will actually see in the dark with no light. It can make an infrared matrix pattern. It's like a indigoish color, and you will see a version of your hand that is not physical, maybe a shadow first or a matrix pattern of your hand, and you keep learning it. You could trick your brain to actually see your bones. Yes, it's people who could see their bones, see their hands, and it's not something demonic or anything. This is what's called kinesthesia. And for you to take the journey to the higher worlds, for you to sense what other people is feeling, say you're gonna do Reiki. Reiki long distance is something where you tune in, you call the person, I'm sick, my head hurt. All of a sudden your head hurt too. That's kinesthesia kicking in. The psychology of them telling you that actually is a vibratory frequency, and your empathy of your heart encompass y'all both in one aura, in one Merkaba. Once they're in your Merkaba, you heal yourself now, and they heal because you're in the same energetic field. And so that's how these will work. But this is not demonic or has anything to do with demons. You have to make a circle and think you got to summon somebody to do that. This is just what we do. Um, it's crazy when you're in a heightened state and you keep going inside people's houses as you drive. Yes, Yoel Adams, it's good to stay in a heightened state of awareness. And for us, it's hard to stay in a heightened state in America. Let me tell you why. Because in America, we get bombarded by forces, neighbors, for you to feel the real truth of who you are and not to be under the influence of anything. You will have to actually isolate yourself in a deserted place where there's no noise, where there's no forces, where there's nothing, where it's just you and the silence. And the silence is the loudest thing in the world because everything in the silence starts talking to you. Once you're in the silence, it's like you're in that state, but now your intuition kicks in, your knowing kicks in. But if you don't ever get the silence, you listen to TV always in the background. Some people can't even sleep without the TV on. That's because in psychology, you don't want to face yourself. You don't want to face those things. You know the truth, but you refuse to take the steps towards awakening. You want to stay sleeping. And this is where we're going to head into right now, which I'm going to get into sovereignty. Sovereignty is very important for you to know. Sovereignty of your soul. And if you don't have sovereignty of your soul, you belong to a demon. You belong to a sheath in those time capsules I was telling you about. Because if you don't notice, your name in all capital letters, your government is the first person that holds you. And you don't understand this grip of this hold through your social security number and your birth certificate. You're not actually in charge of yourself yet. And there is a procedure which is called sovereignty to get your soul, but they're not going to let you know this because it's up to you to say, what am I here for? And learn these things and get your soul. That's not, they'll take care of you as just as a, what they say, you're just the petitioner. You know, that's all you are, petitioner or defendant. But you don't get the legal terms. You know, they got control of your estates. You understand? So you're not actually, the real party creditor of who you are. And I know a lot of people is messed up about sovereignty because you had, I think, Brother Polite or one of them that was taking people money and a whole bunch of stuff. Sovereignty don't work. Well, I'm a Moor. You understand? And I got my Moor papers. I got my sovereignty papers. I filed them with the clerk. My sovereignty is in blood on my papers and it's stamped by the clerk's office. And I got a different name under that. And I gave up all my rights as a citizen to remain sovereign. Now, I want you to understand this very clearly. To be the sovereign is not like how the Moors is putting it in these doctrines. That's not what we're talking about. That's actually a different path. What I'm talking about being a sovereign is being a national citizen, actually being what's called a real party creditor. You could Google that word right now and you will understand that. By being a real party creditor, you take back your sovereignty. You take your name off of being on the stock exchange, being bartered daily, and they taking money off of your name. You see, if you want me to explain to you what's going on, Everything that we're doing is under a system, this system that they call the Luciferian system. This Luciferian system is designed to have taken a toll over people over a period of time. So when we started off with the United States of America was the name that was first incorporated as where the free sovereign people is going to be. Free sovereign meaning every human being is equal to 40 acres and a mule. Now, after 1950, was it 1850, 35 or 55? I can't remember. A war took place because of these first national banks. What happened was we never had no money. Our country, as big as we are, we got our money from England, and that was the hustle. They actually told you it was free, but they had masons and secret people come and petition to have a first national bank. And the first national bank was not of the United States, it was of England. And so when everybody caught on to the hustle, everybody now wanted to make greenbacks. You had Lincoln and all these people wanted to make the United States have their own money. And so now you had a big scrimmage going on, like the Boston Tea Party. Everybody's scrimmaging over what's going to happen with this money system when the charter is over. It was a 20-year charter. And so what wound up happening, you have the North and the West, the East started, I mean, the North and the South got into a big war. And that's when, we fought for independence or whatever between the North and the South. They're trying to say we're independent from England because the North part with England, the South part with French. And so once this war took place, the South did not go to Parliament to re-sign the wind up happening now. We went into a state of emergency. And once being that the South didn't participate, we've been in the state of emergency where the Constitution was suspended. So we wasn't under the Constitution no more. They created what's called the Federal Reserve System. The Federal Reserve System is a private company that is still part of England. It don't have nothing to do with the United States. So they're actually minting our money, and whoever else tried to come in and make up money was the president that was assassinated. From back in the days, it was always about greenbacks and money. So now, why is this important? The important part of this is because when we lost our sovereignty and they took the money, war between the North and the South made them have to forfeit every piece of gold that was in the United States. And so because the war was so expensive, which is the Cecil Rhodes scheme they ran on everybody, they go to every third world country, even the United States was once the third world country, and this is make a conflict between the rebels and the other people, arm both of them, give them the money each, and they both owe the queen. And so they wind up going into debt and wind up having to not only give up the gold, which wasn't enough, also had to actually put a price on the people's head. Everybody who was born now had to have a birth certificate and a social security that goes to the Vatican to hold as credit for the rest of the change that they owe, which is the national debt or deficit. So everybody could create one coin and it's over, but they don't do that. They keep us in debt to that. So now that we're in debt, they created now a different law. This is when United States come into play. Just the word United States. When you get United States, that's not the United States of America no more, because that would spell U, small case letters United, States, capital S and small, off, or so letter O, F, and then small. And now United States was a capital word, meaning it's a corporation now. So anything that's under a corporation is not a law. So what wound up happening, you had these district courts that we call courts or whatever. Any court you go to, it's a commercial business. It's a statutory law. It don't apply to you. It only applied to the capital name person. The one that is lowercase David D and then lowercase AVID and Smith capital S and SMITH is not accessible to statutory laws. So they create these laws for your corporate name. So when they do these things, you don't have sovereignty for your flesh. And so your flesh is caught up so your soul can't participate in willing you until you actually get your sovereignty back. So this is important to understand why sovereignty holds a part of you trapped in this matrix too. And you don't have to go and do sovereignty papers. All you have to do is understand what I'm saying. It's a perception in your mind. Now, this goes into indigenous people that live here. When they came to take over these countries, these places, it was rebels that fought. Every country had rebels that fought that wind up making what's called treaties. These is what's called peace and friendship treaties. Every country got peace and friendship treaties with the indigenous people of every culture. Within New York, where I'm based at, the Iroquois Indian got the peace and love treaty. Now, according to your rights, you international rights, you have the right to a nationality and you have the right to change your name at every given time. But as a citizen, you don't have those rights. So you would want to go under international and claim that what are you? You say you're just African American, that's not real. They made that up. You got to be connected to a tribe. So you say you're an Iroquois Indian now. You're actually part of the peace and friendly treaty that was taking place a long time ago that the Confederate, which is what we're under, the Confederation, have to oblige to. That Obama tried to tell y'all every black person needs to go to the Bill of Rights and go claim their nationality. When you claim your nationality, you get special features like the Indians do, reservations, stuff like that. But nobody has a nationality. You're just saying you're African American, which is just a term. It's not a legal heritage. But when you claim back that now, you see you're under treaties. These treaties that the government has to uphold, and that's what the United Nations uphold. So by you doing that, you free yourself from all that. So I'm giving you basically of what sovereignty is, so you know how sovereignty works. To be a sovereign, you're no different from the queen. That's all I mean. You're commonwealth. You don't fall to those statutory laws, and so you're just as equal to the queen, any king. You're a king when you're a sovereign. That's what sovereignty means. So look into that. Be a real party creditor and take yourself out of there, or just understand this information. And you're only under the jurisdiction of any government if you're a citizen to the government, not as a national or a sovereign. All right, cool. So let's move on. We're going into demonology and demons, right? And I had bumped into this book right here. This is great, guys. Melodoma, Patrice Soma. I would advise you to get into his stuff if you ever did. He got the healing, the healing wisdom of Africa, which tell a deep story. Official skills. What's going on, official skills? Why you never call me, man? You got that knowledge in you. You don't want to share it. Hit me up, man. Demons operate around organic wave functions. Humans operate through organic wave thought functions. This means that demons use an inverted energy source to navigate through possessions of organic wave function. No, that sounds good, official skills. I mean, you got nice words, but you have to have effects, causes and effects. Demons operate around organic wave functions. Demons don't operate on this dimensions at all. Demons is actually inside of you. Have you ever read Solomon and he tells you about the 72 demons? That's actually demons, they say it. They put them inside the canister. Well, the canister is your subconscious mind. The temple is your body. That's what it's trying to tell you. So all demons is in humans. They're not outside of actually the air and all that. It's benevolent beings that keep the air flowing, keep the sun going, keep everything. They follow an order. They don't do like those things like sit under the pond, wait under the tree. That's more psychological because you have those in your subconscious. We all have the same 72. That's why you see them make the sigils with Adodabath. All of them have the same name, but Horus, that those is actually the beings that's inside of your psychology. And by looking at certain sigils or symbols, you pull them out of you. And when you pull them out, that's what you're dealing with in front of you or whatever. So demons come out of human beings into this world. When they do the circle to keep them in, that's where they're going to end up at, because they're not from this world and they don't know nothing about this world. If that was the case, they wouldn't need a circle, because why would you have the circle for? He could just pop up when he want and do whatever he want. But no, you're doing a ritual. It's all psychology. The circle is psychology. All of this is for your head to bring it out. It's to trick you to psychologically make the chemicals drop your brain and project it out. So it's in you. That's why only Aleister Crowley could do it. And not everybody could do what Aleister Crowley do. So it's not something that is universal that we could say go underneath a pond and you're gonna see a demon. But we do see into other dimensions and we see beings there. But to say they're demons is another thing. You have to say that they did something bad, something that they're fucking up the ecosystem. They're doing something to the kids. They say that's a demon. So now humans, you say, operate through organic wave functions. I don't understand what's an organic wave function, much less a wave function. I know we all live in a wave, that's the unified field. And before the field of wave, after the field of wave, you got the field of subatomic particles and cells. But I don't know what you mean by we operate on organic wave functions. So I know we do interpret vibrations and that's what make we see and all that stuff, but you have to explain on, I'm not a modern type person, I'm old school. This means that demons use an inverted energy source to navigate through passions of organic wave functions. Well, I could just interpret that for myself. They work through our psychic energies. They're psychic. Demons only use psychic ways to connect to you because of psychology. You understand? It's like your thoughts. They control your thoughts. They control your emotions, your endocrinology system. But you're the demon that is doing that, and you just don't know yourself yet. Yes, dark room meditation is useful. Bliss breathing. Yes, Nigel Darkest, what's going on? Yes, your crystals is in the states. They're in the states. My sister should be getting in touch with you to send them to you in the next day or two. I got you, my dude. Peace and blessing, Raven. Yeah, first stage is as hermit. Yeah, Raven, I want to one day do a live with you so a lot of people could hear a lot of things that's going on. You know, she's in both worlds, and that's where a lot of us is not in two worlds. We in one world, this world, and then the world defines what that other world is. But if you're in that other world, you could actually define it for yourself and know for yourself. So that's the difference, and us connect in these worlds. Like UL Adamus, that's my man, and ask him, have we connected? Have you seen me in dreams? Have you seen me in meditations? We do these things. We don't just say what we think. It's actually from hands-on experience. Raven, you could put in this. Have we ever astral projected someplace or went places together? Same thing. UL Adams could tell you. So it's actually doing things more than to judge things, because when you judge it, you don't know yet what it's trying to do to you or what its outcome is. We're here to evolve, and it's a saying, what don't kill you make you stronger. And nothing in nature is designed to kill. It's only there to make you grow. All right, the signal is breaking up. Oh, sorry about that. Um, what's up, Michael? How you doing? Donna Suave. I'm an indigenous on the land, life estate claim with the IRS declaration and the governor's commercial status correction, international recognized, and much more. That's right, Karima Ali. Yes. That's all we was trying to prove. It's out here, seek it. And she's showing you how I won't even get into all the more part of it, which is what she's doing because it's so suspect nowadays. But she's saying that she get the land, she got her estates is claimed. We get special benefits from IRS. And when you claim that, you don't pay taxes. You go to your resource center, the human resources, and you show them your paperwork, and they don't tax you, not a penny. Am I right, Aisha? And same thing with your land. They can't tax your land. They can't tax nothing of yours. So you're on a different path. And you say you're international recognized. That's what it is. Indeed, we've traveled together. You see, Raven just came in and said that. So these is what we do. It's not something we pseudo talk. And yeah, and you see Karima L just came in. And now, Raven, I'm pretty sure you see other spirits. Am I correct? As a matter of fact, call my WhatsApp. I could do a talk. We could have a little talk right now so that everybody could hear for themselves. Because like I said, I don't like to speculate, and I don't want to do too much speculating. I want us all to have a great understanding from experience, since we're not actually, trying to book knowledge. Just we're trying to learn the truth from everybody's own truth. So let me see if I could get Raven on the line and we get to chat a little. I'm calling in. Peace and blessings.
Well,
Hello? Yes, you live on YouTube right now. Peace and blessings.
ah, peace and blessings.
Alright, we discussing in reference to not just astral projecting, but when we see other beings, do you see other beings?
Yes.
What are they like? Do you consider them demons and evil?
No, more so the people around you. Their thought forms are usually the ones that are interfering and causing mischief in your life.
Yes, out here they call it bad minding. Now, but have you left your body before?
Yes, I haven't done it recently. I'm usually in my body and experiencing the out of body experience now, but when I was younger, when I first started to experience everything, I did. And it was scary for me.
Okay. What do you mean you've experienced?
Conscious of out of body experience.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. So now, have you encountered any evil spirits?
No,
Okay. And you have encountered many spirits or just a little bit?
a lot. You constantly encounter spirits.
Okay, okay. All right. All right. I'm gonna get back with you. I just wanted to verify and make sure everything works. All right.
Indeed. Okay.
All right.
You guys have a good day.
All right. You too. All right. So, well, it's good too. Y'all could call in on the WhatsApp or whatever if y'all want to chop it up or ask any questions too. And, the number is right there. I think it's 294 92 7297 876 is the area code. I don't even know my own joint. I don't be giving this out. I don't like to. So, yeah, that's 876 294 7297. All right. Speaking of demons, I've now have the opportunity to work with a few elders. The only difference they mention is celestial and terrestrial, and we put them to work throughout the seasons. It's time, Nigel. You ready for that call? I'm gonna call Nigel. I wanted to talk to you about it. What time are you available to call, Michael? Um, Tonight at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. All right, now Nigel and me, we've been chopping it up for a quick minute, and he's a higher being that have something to say. Let me put him on the line real quick for those who wants to hear these experiences. These demons. We're gonna talk about that.
Hello?
Peace, beloved. How you doing?
Hey, hey, what's going on, bro?
Okay, you got a minute to chop it up?
Yeah, man, I'm in the car right now. What's going on?
And the topic we're talking about is demons, and as you can see, we on the YouTube live right now. So I wanted to just
Gotcha.
hear your experience. You know, you are Haitian, right?
Yes, born and raised, brother.
All
Born and
right.
raised.
So Haitian will know everything more in detail. So I want you to give me your version of what you think.
Well, growing up, I've had a few encounters with different beings. Um, Beings as in the same physical appearance that we have, but for example, for a good image, it would be their skin could be turned inside out, and it's nothing superficial in my neighborhood growing up because or in time, the neighbors knew like different ways to take care of him because they were preying on the little kids in the neighborhood and stuff of that nature. Moving forward, about 10 years or so later on, now I'm in the States, moving around. Posted that not too long ago on the feed. I put in the work and I'm able to work now with a few elders, and they don't have the same way with the Haitians. They don't have a differentiation with them. They know about the celestials and the terrestrials, and throughout the seasons, we know there are celestials that we need to put on guard, and throughout the seasons also, we have a certain different energy beings we put in charge also, which would fall under demons, but it's just different forms of energy, and they're here to take care of different things. Some of them are here for healing and protection, and others are there for warfare. And you already know Haitians and their bloodlines, we are about warfare. We have that sort of say pass
Yeah.
to take care of some certain type of things. So yeah, we always use them as tools. And for the ones usually, and what I'm starting to see in this country, the turmoils that are happening is because people are just like you were saying about the altars. These guys are bringing these beings into their homes, but they're not adhering to the contract. When it comes to terrestrials, you give and it's a give and take thing. Once you don't give back, they're gonna siphon from your life force. You know, they're gonna siphon from your
You
kids.
know,
They're gonna siphon from. Oh,
and
go ahead. Sorry.
no, sorry to interrupt you, but that's what I was telling one of my persons I was talking to in reference to the altar and they receiving and they don't give. And I
Yep.
said that's the problem. You have to give back too. You can't just take and receive only. It's a balance like contraction and expansion of the universe. And so they put themselves
Yeah.
now forfeit in a place with those spirits or demons, as you want to call them, by not giving, or like you said, am I correct?
Yep. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And I wanted to mention a little bit about the video you posted yesterday on Facebook about redemption. Redemption is very key when working with celestials. If you guys are taking this path seriously and you guys want to actually create and not have too much to give out, it's the celestials, you know. They go through redemption. You redeem yourself. You do your things the right way, and you will be protected. You won't have to submit to these guys because they understand what we are here doing in this planet. But if you do not know yourself, they will take advantage. These guys are manipulative, and they've
That's
been here a
it.
long time.
That's it.
So,
That's what I said. It's a joke to them, and actually, we the ones who believe the joke, you know. And so, until we wake up and realize we're the gods and they're there to work for us, we're not going to understand the game that's being played on us till it's too late. Am I correct?
I, yep, you got it, you got it.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Oh man, you're spreading great knowledge, brother. Because this is the type of knowledge that's needed for the actual revolution. If you understand where I'm coming from.
That's what it's.
Other than that, picking up your guns and I'm sorry, picking up your guns and taking care of the street, man, you guys are wasting time because it won't go down like that.
Now tell them.
The system's already set up. The system already know what's to come. You know, we
That's
can't do this
right.
physically.
Now I want you to understand that you are military too, so you're not just saying don't go get no guns because you are actually men that work with guns, the military, and so you know the
Oh
real
yeah.
truth.
Yep. Go ahead. I'm listening.
All right, no, I'm just saying that this is deeper than the bullet or something physical. Am I correct?
Yes, it is. Little bit experience, about 9 years altogether in the military. Was in Afghanistan, Death Valley, if those that know about that keyword, and it was hectic. But
All
what
right,
like I said, you can have as much armor, you can have as much army as you want, but if you don't have those key protections around your four corners, protecting your temple, you're gonna have issues.
all
It won't
right.
matter about the money. It doesn't matter about the status and stuff of that nature.
Yes. Aisha, what's going on? All right, it's all good, Raven. Thank you. Yes, Nigel. Now, I want to get into some other things, but I want to get with you to do a live. So, tomorrow you're gonna be available for me.
Well, not so much because tonight I gotta prep for fall equinox. I got a ritual to prep for. So I will give you a shootout possibly towards the afternoon if I'm awake and stuff of that nature, because usually towards the night we do our thing.
Okay, so give me a call later offline to let me get in on that ritual, brother. Put me down. You hear?
I got you. I got you. I got
That's
you.
what it is. That's what it is. All right, and you,
I'll,
like I said,
I will definitely bring you up with me.
okay, your crystals, you should be receiving them in a day or two because they're there in the States. They just got there yesterday, so just stay tuned.
Ah, I knew it. I knew it was to come.
Come on,
That
come
little
on.
situation was just a blockage. I told you about
Hey,
that, huh?
there's a way, there is a way, So you got yours, but the rest, I'm going through the paperwork, so I'm taking the right way with that one. It's just that my friend went up, so he brought him up with him. So just work out. You know how the
Gotcha,
spirits
gotcha.
guide us. So the spirits said you had yours, and they got to you. That's what's important. So I'll be giving you a call back
Mm,
tomorrow. All right.
all right, definitely.
All
Take it
right.
easy, brother.
One love. Okay.
One love.
All right. Now let's get back to this. Now, yes, back to this demonology. All right. Once you realize it, because I could go into deeper parts of it, but I know a lot of us is not really book bound. I'm gonna do the videos. When I do my live, it's not too much reading. It's more about interacting with the people. I like to ask and answer so that we get a good understanding. So, when we talking about demons, it's actually the actual ritual we're talking about more than anything. The coming in today ritual, where they mean that. Take it literally as it says, coming in today, meaning we're in darkness. We think we're in the light, and that's why the elite always separated themselves from the lower class people because they already went through the procedure. Remember, the elite was the ones that went to Egypt. They had the money. They took all the artifacts, all the gold, all the scrolls, all the knowledge, and started converting them and doing these things. So once they're able to do it, they call on like, wait a minute. Well, could be higher beings, and they didn't teach these people down here, and so they built churches and send us to the churches, and we follow the church, what the church say. But up here, the elite is doing something totally different. They're not doing the same thing as what is passed down to the church, and only who have some type of clue of what's going on is the priest, pastor, or whatever. But they're different. The knowledge we get is lowered down. It's not the same knowledge that they receive. We get watered down. Okay, we made it back. We made it through that. Alright. Zabi cool, what's going on? Alright. I wanted to actually there's a few things I wanted to do because I don't want to just group chat all the way through this without dropping some facts. I'm looking for something. 1 second. I see we going in and out. Okay. You know what? I'm over here and I wanted to bring up a very important issue in reference to actually our peoples. When I was telling you about the Arabs and everybody, here we got a picture and everybody. Here we got a picture. Let me see what this one is. You see, there's a deeper story here. Oh Lord, our ancestors is amazing. Okay, we we, as I tell you, as the demons, as the Afris, we conquered nations naked, butt naked. This is important for y'all to understand because it's like our body give off another energy. But the energy, when they made us wear clothes, is to stop us, is to hinder us. And for you to get a good understanding, I'm going to read this Islamic history and civilization to show you when Islam took over and they went to Spain. Coming out of, if you followed the migration, they was in North Africa and they didn't come across to Asia and then to Europe, which they gonna. But this is the migration that they did. And I told you, being that they was of a hybrid, their consciousness is low, so they're barbaric and actually straight up gangster with it. So what they was doing was they was riding around naked, butt naked, and one butt naked Arab could conquer 30 people with weapons just by himself naked. It's the weirdest thing. But I'm going to read it to you with pictures. You're going to see the glyphs. They showed him on the horse naked. Let me back it up some. You see him on a camel naked with a story. All of these is pictures of them, how they conquered. And the point that they're making is they never wore clothes. They was naked. You understand? So you got to understand what was going on. And I'm going to help you with this real quick. All right, so let me pick up this little in the story that is very important for you to understand how these demions work, which was us. Let me see. This picture now, that figure that I just showed you, it says it depicts Joseph's brother selling Joseph. Oh no, that's something else. Hold on. That's the one above it. I want to show you barefoot and naked. What did the Benin of the Arab conquest look like? Okay, here you see right there in it, it says barefoot and naked. This is how they rolled back then. No clothes on. And they was able to conquer better. It says the Syriac churchman Bar Penke, who wrote about 690, held the Arab invaders to have been naked men riding without armor or shield. In the same vein, Michael the Syrian reports that a certain Hyrcan sent by the least Sasanian emperor to spy on the Arabs told his employers that the invaders were a barefoot people, naked and weak, but very brave. A Muslim text dating from perhaps the later 8th century similarly insists that the invaders was barefoot and naked, without equipment, strength, weapons, or provision. In all three texts, the word naked seems to be used in the sense of poorly equipped and lacking body armor and rather than devoid of clothes. And all three depicts the Arabs as poorly equipped in order to highlight the extraordinary God assisted nature of the Arab conquest. I have a sharp arrowhead that penetrates iron, but it is not used against the naked. Russman says that the Shahnameh in his promotion of the fall of the Sassanids, but precisely what did the Arabs invaders wear? It would be for the first question to spring to Ola Graham's mind. Under normal circumstances, it would be the last to spring to mind, for as Oleg, O-L-E-G, is found on telling his colleagues, historians tend to ignore the concrete physical manifestation of things. In particular, they do not think of the way the things looked and so miss an important dimension of the past. Well, I just wanted you to know that all Arabs wore nothing. They ran around naked, conquering everything by their braveness. And this book gives you all these stories of the Ottomans and their first leaving the area that they was made in and going around conquering Europe. And these men was butt naked. All of them butt naked, but brave. God willed that one of them conquered 30. So if you want to read about that, that's called Islamic History and Civilization. I could, you know, send you the book. This is the cover of it if you want to see it. But in here, I studied the hybrids because their savagery rendered them to only do those things. It's simple. You can know what's going to happen before they do it because of their consciousness. And so that's where you get these people that we don't see that we're demons. We're the demons. That's a demon trait. Just like, you know, it's a whole bunch of books. If I could find the Tibetan Book of the Dead, I'll end it off on that note. Where's my tablet? Because in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, he actually gets to show you that you have a whole bunch of demons inside of you. and you have to get the demons out before you die. And if you don't get the demons out before you die, you go through a process of facing your own demons for a while before you actually could ascend out your body. So give me a second. Let me pull up the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I think this is called the Bolero. It's a process that the Egyptians try to get rid of out of people before they actually die. And so they have to teach them how to face death. And so by you understanding what the bolero is, you will understand what a demon is and what creates demons. And it's human beings, and it's only in human beings. What's outside in nature is what we're afraid to face. It's what we want to equate our own situation to. But it's not consistent as far as saying this is demonic and this is going to get us. No, what's going to get us is our thoughts. It's our thought forms. And that's how they control us, through our thought form. All right, so I'm reading now real quick from the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And this is important for you to understand how these spirit things work. This is called the Bardo, Bardo, and then it got Thodol, Thodo. So it says the Bardo Thodo is unique in its purports to treat rationally on the whole cycle of Sangaric. This is phenomenon. Existence intervening between death and birth. The ancient doctrine of karma or consequences taught by Emerson as compensation and of birth being accepted as the most essential law of nature affecting human life. Often, however, its teaching appear to be quite an antithesis of rational because much of it is recorded in an occult cipher. Waddell has declared after careful research that the lamas have the keys to unlocking the meaning of such of Buddha's doctrine, which has been also inaccessible to Europeans. Some of the most learned lamas, including the late Lama Kazi Dwari Sampa, have believed that since very early times there has been a secret international symbol code in common used among the initiates, which affords a key to the meaning of such occult doctrines as are still jealously guarded by religious fraternities in India and in Tibet and in China and Mongol and Japan. So you see, the whole East had a way of protecting the truth so that nobody could know the truth, and then write codex books and then keep the originals. That's basically what he's saying, just like our Bible. There's a woman standing behind me. All right, thank you, Raven. She be seeing things I don't see, and she be on it. In like manner, occidental occultists have contended that the hieroglyph writing of the ancient Egyptians and of the Mexicans seem to have been, in some degree, a popularized or exoteric outgrowth of a secret language. So you get to see the Egyptians themselves, that's not their true language. Their language, we don't know it. What we see as Egyptian is Hebrew. And I'm going to prove it to you through Asclepius. This is an old writer. And on Arthur Godfrey, I'm going to show you them that tell you that the Hebrew language, they was alive when Egyptologists was doing this, and they was telling them that's not Egyptologists. I mean, that's not Egyptian, that's Hebrew. And nobody believed them. So is Mayan language and history. Everything is Hebrew. Everybody share the same history. I don't care if you're Russian, German, you all got the same Hebrew history and languages. So this is going to help y'all understand that, so we understand the deceit that's going on, and give me the power to stand. They argue too that the symbol code was sometimes used by Plato and other Greek philosophers in relation to Pythagorean and Orphic law, that throughout the Celtic world the Druids conveyed all their esoteric teachings symbolically, that the use of parables, as in some sermon of Jesus and of Buddha and other great teachers, illustrate the same tendency, and that though works like Aesop's fable and the miracles and mystery plays of medieval Europe, many of the old Oriental symbols have been introduced into the modern literature of the West. So you get to see they're all perpetrating something in some type of way. Now he says the lamb, the dragon, or the serpent, the dove above the altar, the triangle enclosing all the CNI, common to Freemasonry as well, the sacred fish symbol, even the burning fire, or the image of the rising sun upon the receptacles of the consecrated waters in the Roman West, the archetypal symbolism and the orientation of the church and cathedral, the cross itself, and even the colors and designs of the robes of the priests and the bishops and the pope are a few of the silent witness of the survival of the modern Christian churches of symbolism of the paganism. But the key to the interpretation of the inner significance of almost all these such Christianized symbols was unconsciously thrown away. Uninitiated ecclesiastics gathered together in heresy seeking councils, having regarded that primitive Christianity so deeply involved in symbolism called Gnosticism as Oriental imagery gone mad, reputed as being heretical, which from its own point of view, it was merely esoteric. So basically, they're saying that all these books that we're reading, the stuff that we're believing in, is actually symbolic more than physical or have an overlay of anything to do with us. And these symbols is what I'm telling you, our subconscious read is just symbols. It don't read actual words. So they use the symbology to actually trigger thought forms in you, so you get to see these thought forms using symbology, but we believe it and think it's just words. All right. Let me break down now. This is going to break down what happens when you die, because that's where he's going into the text on what its true meaning is trying to say. So I would just give me a second. Let me pull it up real quick about the death. Um, okay. It says, "In the body of man as he is, in our present fourth round, there are four kingdoms of living creatures." I'm going to repeat that. He says, "In the body of man as he is, in our present fourth round, there are four kingdoms of living creatures: those of the elemental fire, those of the elemental air, those of the elemental water, and those of the elemental earth." I'll read it again, just in case you didn't hear it. "In the body of man," it's not on the air. It didn't say in the air. I'm going to point it out so you understand. Down here in the bottom line, "In the body of man." You see that part? In the body. I want you to understand. This is not in the air. "In the body of man, as he is in our present fourth round, there are four kingdoms of living creatures." So you have four kingdom of living creatures in your body, and that's what you're experiencing, and you think you have demons. He said, "Over this collective life of innumerable merits of life, man is king. If he be a king filled with the transcendent consciousness of triumphant yoga or saint, to him the countless multitude of his eternal subjects, several reveal themselves in their true nature and place in his hand the scepter, symbol of Tibetan doje or thunderbolt." And that's what you're here to try to receive: the scepter, the crown of all your gods, your demons, your beasts, your spirits that you wear. That's only for you. It's not something that, is for everybody. It's for your gods that you are. So you have to be your own pharaoh of the spirits that's around you, but you have to be aware of it, of the maliciousness that you're causing to other people spiritually. It's easy as to be like, "Damn, I wish my sister don't get this job." Your spirit goes and go block it. It be at the entrance of the door, or it make her car go flip over. By hating on somebody, we call it hating. It's a real entity you pushing out yourself to go do these things, but you're not aware of it. So that's why I don't partake with certain people, especially like if they're always playing, joking, laughing. Their spirit is doing things to you. Their spirit be promiscuous, playful, go in your macabre to do things. People who's not conscious of their spiritual things, they're the most malicious people on the earth, because their spirit is still there. It's not like it's not there, but they're not in control of it. It just do what it wants. And for them, they just feel happy. "I'm happy. Why are you messing up my happiness? Why are you telling me this? You never loosen up, son." Because they're not in control of their spirit. And so their spirit is doing malicious things to people, and that's what they do. The simplest thing for you to understand is mortification. Mortifying somebody is the worst thing to do. A lot of people mortify people on purpose. You know how it is, just to be an asshole, just to fuck with them. And a lot of people go through life just mortifying everybody, being sarcastic, asking them questions. And that's the simplest trick that the spirit use or the demon use to actually enter a person's macabre. Now, from this, I could go into vampirism. Vampirism would be the only course to take next, because with you opening yourself to these psychic attacks, these people that you think is regular is not. When it tell you got all these creatures in you, you literally implant one into somebody and then you remotely control them from a distance. And so this is what's happening to a lot of people, that they don't have no control over themselves, being that they're an empath and they're sensitive, caring, and somebody come now and put care into them. They show them they feel this way and that way. All of a sudden they care, and they can't help but being weak to them. And these people use them and destroy them from internally, because they siphon their energy, because that person can't defend themselves. Once a psychic vampire attaches to you, it attaches to a part of you that cares. And when you care, it's hard for you to disattach from it. So, psychic vampires is a whole course within itself, because that's another demon that somebody, psychic vampires come from being hurt, and they don't get love. When you don't get love, you're only going to seek another form of love. And the only other thing that's equivalent to love is power. And so psychic vampires is people who didn't get love and they seek in power. So for them to seek power, they need attention. Psychic vampires is developed at 3 years old. By 3 years old, it's a fully blown psychic vampire. 3 years old kids is the ones that you will see it, and they want the attention. They always causing mischief. They always pulling your face to look at me, look at me. It's the psychic vampire. So you got different forms of psychic vampire. The always me psychic vampire, always putting yourself in a situation, make you care for them, and their trouble is their trouble, but they have a new trouble every day. Then you got to look at me, who go out their way to buy new shit every day, just float it in front of your face, stand in front of your face, fly, or just go to the gym every day. And you get all these different splits in a person, egos, that make them these psychic vampires. And it sends off a negative feeling in our endocrinology system and fucks us up, and we become weak to them, because a lot of us is insecure or feel insignificant to them. And so we see something in ourselves in them, and so we attach ourselves to them because we don't have that alive in us. And so we live a certain part of ourselves through them, the courageous side or the wild side, whatever it may be. But in doing so, they're inside of you, siphoning your life force. Why is it called a psychic vampire? Is because they attach to your life force. Your life force is in a woman, the two ovaries, and in a man, his two balls. It actually siphons this chi energy that comes through your sexual organ, and it feeds your organs. Your organs run off of organ energy that you could talk, you could think. Once you start talking, thinking, listening, you're siphoning organ energy. It takes organ energy to run that. But if you didn't, your sexual areas cut off, you wouldn't have no organ energy. The sexual energy provide organ energy. Organ energy keep you going for 70 to 90 years. If it runs out, that's when you die. Your sexual organs down there run out by 21. You living off of energy that stopped running at 21. But it's not supposed to stop. That's why you have energy blockages. But your sexual organs and your energy down there stops if you have a lot of sex. America, whole Western world is about sex, so everybody energy is blocked and stopped. When you're young, when we turn into rabbits in our puberty years and we're fucking a lot, that's what fucks up our energy. That's when you're growing. That's your creativeness, kundalini, your spiritual, your divine. If you don't fuck them, that's when you become a higher being. But if you fucking all them, you become a demon, a lust-seeking demon. Let me explain to you why. A lot of people, when you start having sex, you bust off a nut. You feel right back. Oh, I'm good now. That shit lasts like 2-3 days. Then all of a sudden your nuts start filling back up, and you start just looking at niggas. They look good. Same thing looking at girls, checking out their eyes when they walk by. Next thing you know, you start doing strange things, paying for people things, being nice to other people. Then you start even doing stranger things. You're stiffy when you wake up now. Your dick is stiff. Women's, they're a little wet. Some people hump the bed. You're doing strange things. And so now, once these things start occurring, you start seeking some way to bust that nut. I need to go find, I got to get my shit off. I'm stressed now. aggravated. I hate everybody. Oh, what's wrong with you? Girl, I ain't getting no dick in a while. No. Man, ready to give you a Snicker bar, calm you down. Yeah, eat a Snicker bar, or go get some pussy. This is regular. You know why? We're not used to living with ourselves. When your nut is full, that's who you are. What are you then? If you're only good when you bust your nut, when you all right, let me break it down. When you come, that's your life force, your essence. You don't have nothing else in you. No fluid is supposed to spilleth out of you. Not a drop of fluid. You don't have something leaking fluid. So when you bust a nut, you lose an essence in you that take 3 days to come back. What are you doing for 3 days? You're dead. You're in, what do they say, 3 days in hell or whatever. A woman, when she busts a nut, you know, it's a different thing. She don't die. She don't lose her life essence. She could bust 100 nuts. It don't do nothing to her, because a woman's life force is in her menstrual. Her ovaries retain her life force in the egg for a child. It doesn't bust off in the semen, because remember, the man's semen life force to make the child is in the semen. So he exhausts himself. That's why he only could good for 1 or 2 rounds, and then he's out the game, while she could go on with multiple partners till the nighttime, maybe the next day, and still go on. She could go on endlessly because she don't exhaust her life force in coming. She gets life force. She takes his life force. She take his imprint, the vibratory. When y'all have sex and you going like this, it causes a magnetic field that makes an imprint on him. And that's what the child is going to look like. That's how the child get its look. It's from these patterns. You got many patterns going this way. And then this is what happens when you rub on it in the vagina. It causes those same patterns, and they become thought forms in her head. She thinks and forms it in her head, and it forms in the womb, which makes the child. But the point that I'm making is, you lose your life force start, it expires. It's only good till you're 21. It's supposed to last forever, but the way we're fucking and having sex, it makes it only last till you're about 21. Then the blockage is wanting sex. Believe it or not, the desire for sex is the blockage. Not wanting sex, you're normal. And so you will see it became habitual from the first nut. You want a second and third. And then the fact that you can't live with being the beast, the creature, the lusting for your penis hard when the wind blow. Or you get horny when the wind blow. You can't live with that. You want to pound on it. Say now, a person like me, we do astral sex. We don't have physical sex. We can't have physical sex. We have to protect ourselves from those impressions and forces. You don't know what that person been through. They could have been doing witchcraft, all types of stuff. It comes on to you. It comes in your macabre, and you're stuck with it. And now your journey is different on your path. So we don't interact with people physically, sexual-wise. If they can't project and meet me in space, we can't do nothing. So when you actually learn these now, it becomes a higher way of doing things. Those that still desire it physically, now you introduce them to the higher way, they go, no, I like the pounding on it. I still need that part. You understand? And this is where it gets demonic. You understand what I'm saying? Because there is a higher way that is done, psychically or whatever. But we're not used to that. We're used to physically actually embarking on things that I told you is kind of like on a different path, a demonic path, because you don't know this person's history, what's inside of them, what's his spirit, what's his soul. All of that is actually what you're taking in. When you have sex, you take on that person's impression. Everything they've been on become a part of your field. So a woman with a lot of guys, and it makes them sometimes anxiety, crazy. You got to do the research on it. I can't think of the word right now, but there's a word for it, and there's a way to purify it. But they wear the genetics of a lot of men. Every man they sleep with, and they pass it on. And pass it on. And there is a way, when you purify yourself, you become you. When you're not that, you him. You him. You ever notice a couple get together and they start looking alike, acting alike, they be the same? That's what happened. You become him. That's why the child is never supposed to look like the man. If the child look like the man, that means the woman hate him. This is ancient science. This is a fact. That if the child looked like the father, it's because he didn't like her. The woman was having a bad pregnancy. The child always looks like the mother. That's a smooth pregnancy. That was a good pregnancy. If it looked like the mother, she had a beautiful pregnancy. If it looked like the father, it was fucked up. The impression penetrated her. She had his thoughts on her all the time, not her thoughts. That's why they say to read books to the child. You could mold your child in the womb by, the natal chart, and he's designed to be coming in at a certain wavelength. But you can have a lot of say so on it by the interactions you have in the system that you're working with. Your endocrinology system is at peace. Are you by the water? Do you have a lot of yelling, screaming? Is rap music banging you, making ugly snowflake pattern in your genetics? It's like water. You get one drip of water, got a snowflake in it. And if you get a whole bunch of drips of water, which is your whole body, is water, you got ugly snowflakes, which renders an ugly child, an ugly pattern. If you're having a beautiful, harmonic, geometric relationship, time, environment, the child come out beautiful, smart, intelligent. So that's important to know because we demonize our children. We demonize relationship and don't see how we demonize them. So I'm putting you on so you can understand from a higher level of what's going on. All right. Now the voids. I was just telling you about the body, how we have these beasts and creatures that we're attracted to these things that we don't know. For instance, the alpha male. Most women is attracted to the alpha male than a regular man, even if he look cute and is all right. It's not her forte because it's something else in her that is attracted to something else. That alpha male rules. And so once you know and understand these things, these is what you're trying to get in touch with to come out of the what we say come into the day. All right. All right. Let's keep it going. I just want to continue now. The wisdom teachings. This is from the Tibetan Book of the Dead. It said also involved in symbolic language. There are as fundamental occult doctrine of the Bardo Thello, what the translator called the wisdom teachings, and those which are essential Mahayana doctrines may be outlined as follows: the voidness in all the Tibetan system of yoga, realization of the voidness is the one great aim. For to realize this is to attain the unconditioned Dharmakaya, divine body of truth, the primordial state of unconsciousness of the supermundane, Boharic all consciousness Buddha. Realize of the voidness is the aim of the novice or the teacher. So there is something greater, the abyss for us blacks. We come from the abyss. That's why Ethiopia is called Abyssinia first. And it wasn't called just Abyssinia because Abyssinia. We was the people of the abyss, the black people. So you got to know what an abyss is. An abyss back in West Africa was called Odudua. And Odudua is Bina in the Sephiroth. On the tree, you got the head Awas, Olarum, whatever you want to call it. Um, from there it separates to male and female. That's where you get Bina and Chikma. Right across here will be the abyss. This is where form takes its shape. So you got a sphere that is promoted by two colors. They call it the alpha and omega. That's their name, male, female. Indigo and white light, infrared or whatever. And they the one who put form or set. Set is born in the abyss. The abyss is the womb. It's the source of all creation where light and dark meet, good and bad meet. And so there is no such thing because that's what it takes to form creation. But you have to know these things so you won't perceive good, evil, dark, light, everything you can see in it, and everything has a purpose. And that's your job, is to learn the void. The void will teach you all this. That's the silence that I say. Put yourself in the void and you will know everything. So you have to put yourself in the silence. All right, the three bodies. These are the three bodies. Say you have a Dharmakaya, is the highest of the three bodies. Then you have of the Buddha, and all of the Buddha has and beings who have perfect enlightenment. The other two bodies are Samkaya, or divine body of the perfect endowment, and Narakaya, or the divine body of incarnations. Now, the reason why I'm telling you these, and it's not important the words, is the fact is everybody knew from ancient times you have more than one body. But today we will say there's aliens, there's demons, but you won't say it's my other me. You won't say it's the other body. And you know what? This guy named Monroe, he invented the Monroe Institute. He went with a bunch of his scientists. Monroe Institute is like the school for gifted students. And he went at the UFO disclosure and announced to the people that there is no aliens. That's your other bodies. And even people who swear to God they've been abducted, showing cuts saying they've been abducted and this happened, he said, no, that's your other bodies. You have the ethereal body. You have these bodies that it seems so real, you would believe aliens came and got you and you got abducted. And he went to the UFO disclosure, the big one that just happened. You, Monroe Institute and his staff went there to discredit everything and said that's a lie. And it's the truth. What we call aliens is our other bodies. And the government is using it to trick everybody because you don't say your other body. But every ancient doctrine from the Egyptians showed three bodies over each other. Everyone, I'm reading the Tibetan and it's telling you got three bodies. Nobody have a doctrine in the past about an alien. There's no doctrine about a demon. There's demons, Devis, Kali, Kundalini, many devils. But there's no doctrine about no evil demon, nothing coming to get you, something to kill you. There's not even a doctrine ever written on record that a demon kills something. We believe that in our heads. So I'm just giving you a more greater overview so that instead of you looking for something outside of yourself to cast blame on yourself. That's why it says in there, look in your own eye and take the wood out your own eye before you take it out of others. But if you don't know you have more than one body, you're going to blame invisible things just like how we usually do. All right. All right. Now, what we have as far as you to understand, I'm going to explain it to you in here. It says, the uncreated, the unshaped, the unmodified is Dharmakaya. And for you to understand that, that's your pure self. In your consciousness, when you're just energy, you're unshaped, you're unmodified, you're pure. That's where you would be in Dharma. And if you're not in Dharma, you have shape, that's you're in another part of yourself. You're not that self. But you got to differentiate the two. That's why the elite don't chill with you, because they know these things and you don't. So they don't chill with you because you could mess them up. It's called the law of thermodynamics. When a lower being come around a higher being, the higher being loses his consciousness to the lower being. The lower being all of a sudden gets smart. That's the law of thermodynamics. I think I got it. I sent it to a few people. If you want to see it for yourself, that this is a fact, that you could energy transfer and somebody could lose something messing with you, and you will gain something if you're a lower being messing with them. It's right here. And if you could read from this distance, read it. If not, I'm going to read it to you so that you understand. People transfer energy, and you can see it's the law of. That's right. That's right. Vibe rational. You got to keep the womb clean, because these people nowadays, that's why they pushing sex. Look on Instagram. Everybody's on Instagram. Excuse me. Like, every sexy pose in the world, everybody's a demon trying to pull you in. Nobody's with their hair fucked up, no fake makeup, looking natural, because they're demons looking for you to look at them. You see, they feed off of your energy as soon as you look at them. That's all they need. So they put up pictures. It's a decoy. It's all a trap. Everybody's feeling insignificant right now. They need attention, and we giving them our energy. So I'm going to read this psychic protection, where it says, and third law. This is the third law of thermodynamics. So listen real quick. Energy blockage tend to move from one person to another according to the third law of dynamics. Energy flows from areas of high concentration to low concentration. This means positive energy flows from saints at a high energy level into people of low levels, thus raising them up and making them higher. Another byproduct is that blockages tend to get thrown out of this rising of energies, and in the process making their blockages really upset. Thus the attributes of Kundalini energy: a feeling of awe and a fear of anger, shaken in heart and cold in the presence of the enlightened. The blockage of the unenlightened flow into the enlightened and into you. Negative energy flows from high concentration to low concentration. So if you hang around people with blockages, they will percolate into you. Bringing an ununiformed man into the presence of a wise is like throwing a dead dog into a pool of rose water. Sufi saying, this has the effect of healing the people who come into the presence of the wise, but unless they are coming to learn rather than being just curious, the unenlightened will soon come back to the previous state. Thus, protection is very necessary to prevent energy blockage from happening. So you get to see that, and this is right here. If you want me to send this particular, you just let me know. I'll post it up on my YouTube post so that you can see it. As a matter of fact, that's what I might just do now while we're standing here. If you want to see it, go to the post part, and I guess you can see it there. Okay, so let me just put that up real quick. So this is important for us to all understand, and if we don't understand these things, that there's more to us than we think. I'm putting that post up, that picture. So whoever want to read for themselves, it's available. Let me just scroll to it. Alright, so I just call the law of thermal thermodynamics. So y'all see it right there. And I'm gonna put energy transfer. So y'all see it. So this now make you understand why the elite can't be around regular people, because the third law of thermodynamics, or just somebody wise, or why the Jews don't be around people. I told y'all this genetic transfer, but I felt it with my neighbors, with people here. A lot of people in Jamaica, I can't be around them. The whole island, I can't be around nobody in Jamaica because their vibration is too low, and I wind up transferring energy with them. And I be on the fucked up end of the stick, so I isolate myself. Real talk. I kid you not. And I'm gonna put secret cameras in here and just record, because a lot of these people out here is very secretive, and if you start recording them, they freeze up. So I'm gonna put secret cameras to catch everything, so you can see what's going on. All right. So we know now Dharma is the way to try to get to, and it's funny, we have to understand these things, because if we don't, we're going to be in for a big surprise when we pass away. These is going to all be the same use that you have to face, that you're going to think that is something going on and it's spirits attacking you, but it's you attacking yourself. I learned it, because everyone that I fought myself. Just like at one point I thought I was traveling in the astral world, and I realized I was traveling in my body. I was in my body thinking I'm in a different place, your house, this person's house. Even when I'm in your house, I'm in my body. Everything takes place there. You got everything in your body. It's a virtual reality of the reality you're in. So you got to understand that. All right. Now, all right. The doctrine of the three bodies conveyed the esoteric teaching concerning the path of the teachers, their descent from the higher to the lower, and from the threshold of nirvana to samsara. And, nirvana would be the void or the abyss, and samsara would be the physical world. And the progression from the lower to the higher, and from the samsara to the nirvana, is symbolized by the five Buddhas, each personifying a universal divine attribute contained in the five dhyana. The point to that, what I'm trying to say is, the five Buddhas is your five selves. You have five selves. Try to find them so you can know what's going on with you. There's more to you. And, if you want personal training, you can hit me up. Or you could keep watching these videos. The point of these videos is to let you learn how to use the four elements within your body that could cause external changes in this world. With the ultimate being a magician. You're in a magic world. And don't think it's nothing less than that. When the Christian pray and faith and ask for $1 million and get it, That's how the world really works. You just don't know that, and they teach you to go work hard for it. It don't work like that. That's a lie. So I'm just putting you on so you know the real results. That's a quick summary. All right, here go the death ceremonies. Maybe I think this is the part that I'm looking for, because I'm looking for when they tell you what happens within yourself or the spirit. So I said, when the death symptoms, as described in the first section of our text, are completed, a white cloth is thrown over the face of the corpse, and no person then touches the corpse, in order that the culminating process of death, which ends only upon the complete separation of the bottle body from its earth plane counterpart, shall not be interfered with. It is commonly held that normally the process takes from 3 to 1.5 to 4 days, unless assisted by a priest called the HPHOBO, PHO, or extractor of the consciousness principle, and that even if the priest is successful in extracting the deceased, ordinarily does not wake up to the fact of being separated from the human body until the said period of time had expired. So you see, you're stuck in your body, you're not dead, and you're going through something. This was what I'm trying to put you on to. They're not telling you the truth, and you don't really care because you just facing death on your face and enjoying this shit when you're gonna be fucked when you die, and that's a fact of life. That's my only reason for standing for this. All right, it says that the Poe, upon his arrival, take a seat on a mat or chair at the head of the corpse. He dismisses all laminate making relatives from the death chamber, and orders its doors and windows to be closed, so as to secure the silence necessary for the right performance of the hobo service. This consists of a mystic chant containing directions for the spirit of the deceased to find its way to the western paradise of Amtahaba, and thus escape. If karma permits the undesirable initiate state, after commanding the spirit to quit the body and its attachment to living relatives and goods, you see, this is what we have to face. It's not a journey. I told you I did it in one of my videos for my nephew Sage, man. It was traumatic saving him because he was attached to this world. And it's like I had to keep, like a snake, unfolding and pulling out his body. And the spirits, the dragons, and the entities that is involved for killing them and doing that, he's running from them and keep coming in my apartment or my place here for me to do it. And he's like, hurry, hurry, do it, do it. And you can see them come. Watch them extract them, right, like if somebody's standing here, into the air. And he's folding into the air. They folding them into the air till it disappeared. And I'm like, what the hell? Is this evil? Something ain't right. And so I had to learn that he didn't want them to do it because they was doing it in a trauma way, because we're so attached to this physical world. But eventually I see him now and then, and he's all right. He don't care about this world like that now. But when he first died, it was hell. He was attached, and I was being demonized by him. But he taught me how to be a shaman and how to take people out of their sheath bodies, different parts of them. If you smoke cigarettes, I could take it out. If you gay, I could take it out. If you want to be gay, I could put it in. It's like all these things that is there, but we don't use it in no bad way. Don't think that, things cost millions of dollars. Sufi people get paid millions for just one of what I just tell you. These things isn't cheap, and people don't offer it around doing it. It's special. So anyways, let me continue. This consists of a mythical chant containing directions for the spirit of the deceased to find its way to the western paradise of Ambataha, and thus escape if karma permits the undesirable initiate state. After commanding the spirit to quit the body and its attachment to the living relatives and goods, the Lama examines the crown of the head of the corpse at the line of the sagittal structure, which the two parcels bone articulate, called the acupuncture of Brahma, to determine if the spirit had departed thence as it should have done, and if the scalp be not bald, he puts out a few of the hairs directly over the acupuncture, the aperture. If through accident or otherwise there be no corpse, the Lama mentally concentrates upon the deceased and visualizes the body of the deceased, imagines it to be present, and calling the spirit of the deceased, performs the ceremony, which usually lasts about 1 hour. So you see how the Lama, he uses thought form to communicate with the spirit. So that's how you would communicate with any spirit. He didn't say he actually called up the man and he popped up. He said he mentally concentrates upon the deceased and visualizes the body of the deceased, imagines it to be present, and calling the spirit of the deceased performs the ceremony. Alright, so just so you understand, it's not like how we think. They're not just here like that, it's deeper than that. Meanwhile, the Tesapa or astrologer Lama has been engaged to cast a death horoscope based upon the movement of the death of the deceased to determine what person may approach and touch the corpse, the proper method of disposing of the corpse, the time and manner of funeral, and the sort of rites to be performed for the benefit of the departed. So look at how we do it today. We bury ours on any day, and you let anybody come to your wake or your funeral. People who's bad mind in your spirit, that's like, that's good for that bitch, or it's good for him. And they the ones that block them from leaving their body. You don't know that they're in there looking at the corpse, but they doing something else because they're not dead. It's just that we can't see it. It's very important to keep bad people in mind or bad-minded people. People don't wish you good around you. It blocks your energy. It blocks you from doing things because they're doing it spiritually right in front of you and you don't know it because they're fake. Okay. Then the corpse is tied up in a sitting posture, much the same as that in which mummies and skeletons have been found in ancient graves or tombs in various parts of the world, and sometimes called the embryonic posture, symbolic of being born out of this life into the life beyond death. The corpse so posture is then placed in one of the corners of the death chamber, which has been assigned to the household demion. You hear that? And that's the word that we need to see. That the death chamber, which has been assigned to the household, and you see the word right here. I put a big. I'm gonna put my hands underneath it. Oops, demion. You see the word demion right there? And so every household had a protector spirit called a demion. Today that would have been demon, household demon. And we see that it would have been taboo. Oh my God. You understand? But no, Demion is a protective spirit. Demons are protectors. They're not what they said. We believe what religion told us. That's like saying all Arabs is terrorists. And so today in 3030, everybody's killing Arabs and run when you see an Arab because back in the day they say Arabs was terrorists. So we believe we don't know though. But so it's the same thing with this demons and stuff like that. All right. Relatives and friends having been modified of the death gather together at the house of the deceased, and there they are fed and lodged until the corpse is disposed of. If doubt exists concerning the complete separation of the consciousness principle or spirit of the deceased from the body, there is not likely to be any disposal of the corpse until 3.5 to 4 days after the time of death, so long as the entertaining of the murmurs continue, usually not for less than 2, but more than often 3 days. The spirit of the deceased is offered a part of a food, both solid and liquid, of each meal. This food is placed in a bowl in front of the corpse, and then after the spirit of the deceased has extracted from the food, thus offered the subtle invisible essence. See, that's what I was telling you. This invisible subtle force is what you have to tap into. It says the food, and it said the food is thrown away after the corpse have been removed from the house for final disposal. An effigy of the deceased is put in the corner of the room, which is where the corpse had occupied. And before this effigy, food continues thus to be offered until the 49 days of Bardo have expired. Whilst the funeral rites, including the writing of the Bardo total, are being performed in the house of the deceased. Um, It's important for you to understand these things of what our ancestors did, these rituals, because we still die in the same way. Now, this is what the effigy would look like of a person. They would draw a picture with the symbols and everything and just put it in a certain corner of the house as like a memorial or a legend to that person. And you know, we all do it as we use regular pictures today, you know. So it's still the same. But I want to see if it says what would happen when, what is happening inside the person when they're dying. Um, I want you to experience it firsthand. Okay. Let me see. All right, I'm gonna come back on a different post after this one with the Tibetan Book of the Dead because I don't want to waste too much time looking. It's just a few things I wanted else to discuss, but I got a recording session to do with these younger dudes, so I got to show them some love. Raven, you got to do that song for me so we could get you up in the studio. So if you're in your body when you think you're with another person, does that mean we are all truly one being? Meaning connectiveness, magnetic field, one field? Yes, Raven. That's all it is about. I tell you, you can't separate from the whole. Now you got it, principally now. That's facts. All right, we could just leave one Merkaba and jump into a Merkaba, but we in one great big Merkaba. So we could share Merkabas, or you could be in one. Indeed, recall the night travel dream of another militant version of myself traveling on the moon orb to meet me and other friends and family members. When we met ourselves, we shall all meet. That's right. So that now you got a better concept, and the journey will be now about receiving your gifts and actually unlocking yourself, not about you warring with what the Google says or what YouTube says or what the Gnostic book says or what the Egyptian book says. All of those is deception. The warring with yourself. Prove it. Go follow some of Monroe Institute stuff and you'll find. Go read how many bodies you have. Go find out. There's so much information and pertaining to the bodily instructions of yourself. Um, your shot, Rod. Yo, I wanted to talk to you, yo, Aisha. You putting off a strong energy today. Yes, I just started meditating back again. When I told you my eyes was glowing, you see how it's not glowing now, but when my eyes glow, it's trouble. Again, that's what happens. I was gonna say in reference to you, Yosef, you were saying that how my meditation is painful and irritable, and you wouldn't want to do it. I was reading one of your comments you had left on my YouTube, and that's not the case. How it works is, let me explain it to you so everybody have a general understanding. When you don't meditate and you don't eat right, your everything closes up. It's like if you don't work out, your muscles wither away. You wither away. The same thing. When I started the crystals, I fell in love with crystals so much. I did it 24 hours, literally no sleep, no meditation for almost a month straight, no eating, just putting in straight work. And so when I went back to meditate, my nadis closed up. Plus, I needed strength. At that time, I was doing a lot of hidden. My fingers, if you look, every place on me is cut up. Everywhere is cut up now. I was literally taking a big spike and a boom and smashing, missing my whole hand. I don't even know how my bones ain't crushed, man. It hit so hard it smashed down on the thing, cutting rocks. Every part of me was cut up. So my point was this. I had to force eat bad food. Like when I need extra energy, extra power, extra weight, I'll go eat bad food on purpose to get it. And so I did that, and that closed my chakras up, closed my nadis up. So just unlocking now, it was painful because I'm light. You turn into a light being. When you become consciousness and go through all your pores, you flying through your pores, which is in this world, when you come out in this world, your subatomic particles or phonon particles, or what we call particle and particle particles, which come out to be like a cloud, a dark cloud. But you're traveling as atoms, flying on the atoms, but you're just a consciousness in there, so it's going to look dark like a shadow. And so when this happens, it gets very uncomfortable because I closed up by eating bad food. One, if you notice, working out is the same way. If you don't work out every day, eventually you're going to get fat. That's why it's not good to work out, because when you stop, what's going to happen? So it's the same thing with yogas. You see that yogists always meditate every day. Once you stop, your nadis goes back up. So where I'm at is a very high level. And for you to understand what I mean, all you got to do is look at any Egyptian pose. If you ever see Egyptians, they be like on their knees holding two medicine ball with their toes, or they're always with the iron bars. We don't do exercises that's comfortable. All my exercises renders my magnetic field to start bouncing like this. It has to bounce. So I was a trauma. When our magnetic field started doing this, the spirits just come in easy. They can't come in if your thing is moving. It's not moving. It's bouncing off. So for them to come in your magnetic field, it has to be flattering and waving. So we hold the medicine balls up till it's starting to hurt. And when it's starting to hurt, that's when they enter us. They enter our field. There's another aura. It comes down right on you. Feel it. If y'all want to feel this now, let me enter y'all aura. Get ready. What I want y'all to do is put your arms out straight, like if you was Jesus on the cross. This is called the tar. This is an Egyptian meditation. I'm putting y'all on. And what I want y'all to do is have your hands straight out, palms facing down. And now I want y'all all to look right face center into my mirror, into my pineal gland. Use 0 point concentration, meaning look at it as a dot from a pen. Focus your concentration and hold your arms out and just stare at it. Blow all the air out your nose and just breathe down low and stare at it, and you will feel the weight of my pressure come down upon you. And we'll share one. Here we go. If you look in my window, look at the energy from my arms. Look at the flattering of it in my window, the color. You can see my energy just off my shoulder. All right, this is how we do it. So you should feel some weight. Yes, Yesaya, that's what happened. It will scare you. It will scare you. That's what I was saying. Don't. It's not something to be afraid of. It's just not documented, and we're not educated right about it. But this is our true calling. So I'm just sharing this energy with you. If y'all did this little exercise, you should feel weight come down on your shoulders, and your arms should feel heavy. Now just bring it inwards to the front of you. Bring it in like you're gonna clasp your hands. Move very slow like a cloud. Bring it in very slow. You should feel like a great magnetic energy in between now. You just feel a powerful surge of energy that is holding there. Now you just hold it there. Hold it like about at this distance now. And now everybody gonna slowly take this energy and you just bounce it a little back in and out just like that to get a buoyancy on it. And then you hold it still. You will see it's like a ball of energy. And then you slowly now bring it into your system. You pull it into your heart chakra, throat chakra, crown chakra, wherever you want the energy to go to, that's where you will focus it as you bring it in. Now, if you feel all this energy and this power, that's what we do when we don't take the easy man ourselves. Is how we contract the universe. So that's. I just wanted to hope you felt some of the energy, and we're gonna be doing meditations later. I do have the yoga itself, and the meditation. I know the asanas and the breathing. So for now that's good enough, and I hope y'all understand with this demon stuff. It's inside of us, and it's got us powers that we're gonna use to help us. They're called the Devis. They're called chakras. Demons are chakras. They're the circle with the little man in it. You'll see it all over. Anytime you see a circle with a person in it, it symbolizes a Devi. And we have them all inside of us, and they give us our intelligence. They make us the genius. All right? I hope y'all understand. And I'm going to try to come back either tonight or tomorrow. University of Conscious Science. One love.